Alright, what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of the TMossBoss Show. And in today's episode, I wanted to talk on gaming catchphrases because, nah, man, it just seems like that's a normal thing now. Everybody has a catchphrase or a go-to saying when we're having a conversation about gaming, and it seems like it's more so brought up when we're having a negative conversation about gaming. Like, for an example, so if you talk on a video game and how you're struggling more so with the video game, people like to just jump out of nowhere and say that you're having a skill issue. They don't explain how you're having a skill issue. They just say, oh, you're having a skill issue. And what's crazy, it could be from a video game genre that you play a lot of. So let's say, for an example, you play a lot of different racing games, right? And then there's that one racing game that comes out where they decide to have a different control setup. They decide to go about racing in a different way. So instead of you being in first place, you have to be in last. They don't explain nothing. I'm trying to think of some other things that they could do. They just pretty much do everything backwards with that game. And you'll talk on that. You'll talk on your frustrations with that game, like, okay, so let's say a video game like that exists, and then you're like, yeah, they're just pretty much doing everything backwards. Like, it don't make any sense. There's all these other different games that come out, and for some odd reason, it's either people that has worked on the game, friends of the people that worked on the game, or the workers themselves. They just love to jump up and just say, oh, sounds like you're having a skill issue. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, you're telling this to somebody that's most likely been playing video games for a long period of time. Like, they've been playing them for more than a year. I feel like even if you have only a year of experience in gaming, still, there's that one game, depending on what genre it's involved in, you'll learn everything that you need to know. So if it's a tactical shooter, then fam, like, I guess I'm more so confused, like, how would you struggle, or how would it be a skill issue? Like, let's say you spend a whole year playing, I'm trying to think, okay, Gray Zone Warfare, that's the game that I've been playing a lot of recently. You spend a whole year, put work hours into that game every single day, and then there's a new tactical shooter that comes out where they have it set up on some business where the enemies can spot you inside of a like a metal building where it's like you won't be able to hear who's walking outside, won't be able to see them, there ain't no windows, but they somehow, some way know that you're outside. You'll talk on that, and people just love to say, oh, sounds like a skill issue. Fam, I'm going to explain this the best way that I possibly can to those types of people. It's not a skill issue. Yes, it's a skill issue on the developers, but it's not a skill issue on the gamer, especially if they specialize in that genre. So when they tell me stuff like that, like, so for an example, I have been ranting about The Division 2 a lot lately. And I've been talking on my frustrations, how I'll play this game on certain difficulties and I don't get no good rewards. And people are trying to defend it. And that was one thing that I did see, was that I'm having this quote unquote skill issue. And I'm thinking to myself, fam, I have been playing this game for years. I have been playing it since it released. I don't know how I can possibly be having a skill when there's only one thing to do in that game. It ain't like there's like a bunch of different things they have you do. They pretty much point you or put you out in an area where you just gotta shoot and kill people. How is that a skill? And what's so crazy about it is that when you look at a lot of different games out there, even if you look at some other titles from Ubisoft, for some odd reason, they have it designed on The Division that it takes so many bullets to take out an enemy in that game if you're playing it on the hardest difficulty. And I'm thinking to myself, I get that you're trying to make the game harder, but you would think, okay, let's maybe have it where there's just a lot more enemies rather than there's that one enemy that's like pretty much using up half of my ammo, and then there's enemies that's trying to flank me. Like, that's not a skill issue. That's just poor development, where it's like you guys can't for some reason just make it where the enemies go down in a traditional way of being shot. Like, I look at it like this. They say that they wanted that game to be realistic, right? At what point in time have you seen a person of some sort to take 500 bullets and they live to tell the story? I wonder, hold on, I don't know how, I guess I would look that up. Like how many, or like, I guess like what's the most amount of guns? Yeah, let's just look that up real quick. What is the most amount of gunshots someone has survived? So other people, 30 plus shots. A man nicknamed Miracle Man was shot 30 times in Toronto, 27 shots. U.S. Navy SEAL Mike Day was shot 27 times by AK-47 and survived 21. So, okay. So I think it was that seems like the highest, 30 plus shots. Now, when playing the Division, they have it set up on some business where, so there's the one light machine gun in that game where it holds, like, at least I think if you upgrade it enough, it can hold up to a lot of bullets. Like currently right now, the Bullet King for me, it holds up 1,300 bullets, over 1,300 bullets. And at times, I'm shooting an enemy, and it'll get all the way down to like 800 or 900 bullets in the chamber, I guess. But overall, though, I'm thinking to myself, fam, hundreds of bullets? Like, when have you ever seen that? Like, 30 bullets? Okay. Hundreds of bullets. Like, it done went from 1,300 to, so what, like 800, 900, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, 500 bullets, bro. I had to make sure I did the math correctly because I was getting ready to say a number, but I'm like, nah, wait a minute, let me just confirm with my mathematics and stuff. But 500 bullets? Like, when have you ever seen somebody take 500 bullets? That's what I would like to know. Like, at what point in time in war is that supposed to be, you know, a realistic thing? I can understand maybe somebody being shot at 500 times, you know, or yeah, there's like, they managed to dodge 500 if you're being shot at from a bunch of different angles, but other than that, I don't think I've ever heard nobody take 500 bullets and then they live to tell the story, or that's finally what takes them out, that 500 bullet and stuff. So that's why I'm like, you know, when they try telling me that I'm having a skill issue with a game where at one point in time this was one of my favorite games to play, I guess I'm more so confused by how it can be a skill issue when this was at one point in time the only game that I was playing. So like, whether you're playing it on normal, whether you're playing it, and what's crazy is that on every difficulty, I've had issues with this game. So on the easier difficulties, they have it where you just, well, actually, no, I take that back. On all the difficulties, you just get the same loot over and over again. And then occasionally they might drop some random loot in there, and you can have it where it's set to targeted loot. Don't mean nothing, you know. And there's been times where it's like, okay, you'll have it set to targeted loot and you want yourself to get a light machine gun. They'll give you assault rifle, shotguns, and all these other different things. And I'm like, fam, I don't want this. I want a light machine gun. Give me what I want. Like, I don't understand why it has to be a problem and stuff. But anyways, yeah, when they say stuff like that, you know, I'm convinced that it's either a troll or it's somebody that don't know absolutely nothing about gaming, you know. And you can sit here and try to explain to me, oh, I know everything that. No, you don't. If you say things like, oh, it sounds like you're having a skill issue, and you just leave it at that, you don't even explain like how the game is played or any of it. And the thing is this, even if you do go out your way to try to explain to me how a game is played, it shouldn't be set up in a way where it's like if you put out, I guess, difficulties for that particular person, the person should be able, like, yeah, so whether it's normal, hard, challenging, whatever, it shouldn't be this day and night, you know, I guess, like, process of trying to get weapons in that game. It's like, whether it's on some stuff where you can, and that's another crazy thing about that game too, that they'll give you blueprints to weapons that you can't even unlock. So you have to, in order to craft a weapon, you have to get that weapon in order to craft it. But you can, and that's the crazy thing, you can have all the material to craft that weapon, you still need to get the weapon in order to craft it. What sense does it make to have blueprints then? What, like, my thing is this. Have you ever heard somebody building a house and then they're saying, in order for this to be considered an house, or to build another, to build this house, you have to build the house first in order to build the house? Does that make any sense? That's why I'm like, people that be trying to defend that, I'm like, fam, no, I'm not hearing it. I'm not hearing it at all. But anyways, and then with Arc Raiders, because I know people, they were saying that too with that game. Sounds like I was having a skill issue, and I'm thinking to myself, you know, I get the idea of it being an extraction shooter, but just like how a lot of different genres have, you know, have, I guess, blown up and went viral, like, for an example, survival games. You know, at one point in time, we were looking at games like DayZ, H1Z1, Rust. Rust still gets played to this day, but you'll see where some occasional survival games come out and stuff. And but no, it was a genre that was really popular, like how extraction shooters, how they're popular today. That's how survival games were back some years ago. And so, but no, overall though, with extraction shooters, the one thing that I didn't like was having it where people will, pretty much do some old snake kill on you, where it's like they want to sneak up from behind you and kill you and things. And I mean, at the end of the day, out in the middle of I guess like combat areas and stuff, cool. If you come up from behind me and kill me, I'm like, hey, it's whatever, but still gonna be a little upset about it and things. But when you wait for me to extract, and because they have it, so that's how they have arc raiders set up, where you have to type on a computer to extract. So you can't. So Gray Zone Warfare, because that's also an extraction shooter, they just have it where you gotta call out for a helicopter. But they at least do have it set up on some stuff where you can play the game entirely not against people and stuff. So they do have a PvE option in that game. I love how like anytime when I talk on gaming now, I gotta make sure I plug in Gray Zone Warfare. Look, if I can prove it some way, I'm not being sponsored by them. They're not paying me to talk about them. Like, I'm just really a fan of the game and stuff, But anyways, but no, they have it set up where you can. So like, let's say if you are playing against people on Gray Zone Warfare, at least for me, I think how I would go about it is that I will call for the helicopter. Try to scope out the area to make sure ain't nobody trying to do no snake kills on me and things, or they call them rats, I guess. But anyways, yeah, make sure there ain't no rats in the area and stuff. And then as soon as that helicopter lands, just book it for that helicopter and try to extract. But I at least will make sure I'm in a position where nobody can't see me. Like there's bushes and tall grass that I can hide in and stuff. So, but anyways. But no, they have it set up in Arc Raiders where you have to type on a computer. So when typing on that computer, you can't hold out your gun. You're pretty much locked in on a computer and stuff. And then I think you can try to, I button smash or whatever to try to get off of the computer and stuff and try to aim at the person. But by the time you already done did that, they already done shot at you a bunch of different times to where eventually by the time when you're able to react and be able to return fire, you already done went down. And so I was talking on that with that game. I was talking on that issue. I'm like, man, I just don't like the idea of having it where I'm that close to extracting and I done found all the different things I need to do to complete these missions or expeditions or whatever and stuff. And now I ain't got some rat killing me in the back. People talking about, oh, that's the risk of reward and stuff. And I'm thinking to myself, do you think I'm trying to hear catchphrases after having a session with that game where I'm out here getting killed by rats left and right? They're like, do you think that's something that a person wants to hear? That's why a lot of times I'm like, hey, look, if it's not agreeing, because I'm not trying to hear nothing else. If it ain't agreeing with what I'm saying, fam, don't say nothing to me. Go on about your business. Go play the game. But I just don't get when people say things like that. And I'm like, fam, there ain't no, risk. It's just frustration. I'm like, yeah, risk is when it's like, okay, if I'm going up against the arcs and they're, we're going back and forth, then okay, that's the risk of the game. But when you're having to sneak up from behind somebody to shoot and kill them, like you did absolutely nothing that whole game. You ain't found no loot. You ain't did nothing. You're waiting for somebody to extract to kill them. Fam, there ain't no, that's not a catchphrase, moment and stuff. No, that's just you not playing the game correctly. So, and I know people are like, oh, that's what they allowed me to do it, so I am playing the game correctly. Then you're not good at it. Because my thing is this, if a person could go around that whole map, find all these different things that they need to find, and then all they're trying to do is extract, what do you do to provide any sort of fun to that game? And I feel like they're going to try to hit me with another catchphrase. Come up with something smart to say. Come up with an actual multi-sentence paragraph where you can actually explain the rat behavior and make it make sense and have it to the point where I can actually agree with you and say, oh, I understand why you're doing what you're doing. My fault. I should have never did this podcast episode. But my thing is this. If you got to be a rat in games like that, then you're going to try to hit me with a catchphrase afterwards. You suck at the game. That, I guess, that's my catchphrase to the catchphrasers out there in gaming. You suck at the game. If you have a catchphrase for every single moment rather than just actually getting good at and that's another thing too. So people, they like to say get good when playing a game. And again, it's with games that I play a lot of. So I guess even it being an extraction shooter, it's still a shooter game. It's still a game that a genre that I have been playing for a while. Because I guess I go based off of Steam, where they got the first-person shooters and the third-person shooters. I have been playing shooter games probably since I was a kid. Like, I think one of the earliest shooter games I remember getting was, it was a Terminator game. I think I actually did get that game not too long ago at a Retro Game Store. I think that was the same Terminator game. I'll have to check. But, yeah, I've been playing shooter games since I was a kid. So, like, I mean, no, actually, I take that back. I think the first ever shooter game that I ever played throughout, like, you know, my history of gaming was, 007. I believe that was the first. I think it was given to me by my uncle. And then, yeah, I just kind of took over, played a little bit of it, didn't really know what I was getting myself into. I was more so into racing games. I had to say I ain't really get into shooter games until my later years in gaming and stuff. More so, I think, when I was probably in, like, middle school, high school, I feel like that's when I kind of, because I just love playing racing games and stuff. But overall, though, yeah, people say that to me, like, get good at a shooting game, and I'm thinking to myself, what other things do I need to do besides shoot somebody that I see? You know, but if it's on some stuff too, where it's like, again, you know, people acting like rats in games like Arc Raiders or any other games, how do you get good at that? You know, where it's like you're not expecting it. Like, that's the thing that I don't understand. It's just, you know, my thing is, because, like, so that's where how I did more so discovered the rat players in that Arc Raiders is that they'll make it seem like that they're working side by side with you. Like, they'll help you take out an arc, or you'll help them take out an arc. And then, right when you're about to extract, that's when they want to shoot you in the back and take your loot. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, fam, we were just working side by side. Like, what's the problem? What did I do to you? So, yeah, that's why I'm like, when they say things like that, get good, it's like, okay, how do you get good at the game then? Explain how. Because I guarantee and I promise you, just like how you have a catchphrase for everything that I'm talking about, I guarantee and I promise you I'll have an argument to, I guess, whatever possible way of getting, quote unquote, getting good at the game. So that's why I'm like, yeah, when they try to hit me with these catchphrases, I'm like, it's definitely a new generation of gaming. Because I'm like, it's either a new generation or somebody trying to keep up with the new generation. And it's like, fam, if that's the case, then you're too old to be playing video games. Go on about your business. If you ain't even paying attention to the game, you're just more so like, oh, I just want to stay hip with the kids and stuff. And I'll say get good, or skill issue, or risk of reward, and all these other different things. And it's like, fam, come on now. I'm like, you're a grown man. You should be thinking about retirement. Like, stop it. I'm like, you're not a kid no more. You are a grown adult. Act like it, bro. But and then for the new generation, I'm like, yeah, it's you're more so caught up on what's trending today. Like, it's, you know, trend followers. You know, you had the trendsetters at one point, but it just seemed like now, yeah, we got trend followers, where it's people that can't really come up with something on their own, so they just pretty much say whatever they hear and just run with it and stuff. So it's sad, but hey, at the end of the day, you know, it's just people out there where it's like maybe one day they'll understand, or they'll be in the same position as us, where it's like, yeah, it's a bunch of people hitting them with catchphrases and stuff. So, but anyways, with that being said, I will talk to y'all later. Thank you guys for watching and or listening. Stay tuned for the next episode. Like, subscribe, viewing this on YouTube. Follow, subscribe, viewing this on the podcast streaming service, and peace.